This is my first talking video. Those of you that are familiar with my channel will know. And this is a Harley Benton HB or HB35. And I think this is a really good guitar. And one of the reasons I want to do this, or what I want to talk about, is that this is a very affordable guitar. I read a lot of reviews about guitars, and I certainly read a lot of reviews and saw videos about this guitar before I purchased it. And I want to talk about the things that I did and some of the things that I didn't do. One of the first things, like starting down here, is that a lot of people think that you need to replace tuning machines on a guitar that's not very expensive, like this one. And I don't believe that. I've been modifying guitars for about 35 years now. And I personally believe that if you put strings on a certain way that they lock when you put them on, you can get away with the really inexpensive tuning machines. So I didn't replace the tuning machines. Now I did cut the nut slots, and that was after I did a complete leveling of the frets and fret truss. But I don't see the need to do a fret truss on a guitar as something that is a criticism of the guitar. Nor do I see that recutting nut slots to make the strings lower, nor do I see that as a criticism. I've had to cut nut slots on Les Paul Customs that cost £4,000 or whatever. I like to make my guitars playable, so I like to bring the action down as low as I can. After a fret level and recrown, I was able to get an action height at the 12th fret on the 6th string, 1.15 millimeter. Now that's very low. I don't know if you can see that, but that is extremely low action. And so now, another thing that I did is I re-intonated it at the bridge. It has a good ABR style bridge, as you can see here. So that had to be tweaked a little bit. Again, I don't see that as a criticism. I think guitars that cost, 10 times more than this also need tweaking at the bridge saddles. Now, one of the things that I did do, because I was just curious about it, is I changed, there are ceramic magnets on these pickups, and I changed the ceramic magnet in the bridge position to an Alnico 3 magnet. So if you listen to the difference is profound in my case. To my ears, here's the neck pickup, okay, on its own. Now that's quite pretty, but in the middle position now, I kept the ceramic magnet and I had the pickup really low underneath the body, it's under flush. But let's take that sound again. And now here it is with the combination in the middle position with the bridge pickup, which has an Alnico 3 magnet. So I think that is a profound difference, and it's a very cheap modification. Now, bear in mind, the one thing that is a bit tricky is getting, when you take the pickup out, if you choose to do this, getting the pickup apart. I used a combination of a small angle grinder on a Dremel style tool to cut the solder joint, and a soldering iron. Between the combination of those two things, I was able to get the bottom of the pickup off. The magnet comes out actually quite easily. there is a thickness difference between the ceramic magnet and the Alnico 3 magnet. So what I did was I put spacers in. I used cardboard so that when I reassembled the pickup, there was no imbalance, because the two coils, when they had the Alnico magnet, they were sort of bending in on each other. So in order to get them flush so that I could get the pole pieces lined up with the cover again, I used spacers. And like I said, I just used pieces of cardboard. And the only other thing that I did was I rewired it to, I was just curious about the vintage 335 wiring, where there's like an interaction between the volume and the tone controls. But anyway, I do think that the sound of this is so clear, the balance is so good, and so I think that what might be a consideration, I'm just trying to perhaps save some people money. I think part of the joy and the beauty of buying a guitar that isn't a lot of money is that it serves your purpose, and without getting into a lot of modifications. I mean, look, do what you want, I mean, you want to spend money, go ahead, but I don't think that, like, I didn't change anything. I kept the pots. I did change the capacitors because they weren't long enough. I connected them between the volume and tone control for each pickup. So I had capacitors that had longer legs on them or whatever, but they're the same value capacitor, and I don't think there's much difference between the capacitors that were on here and the ones that I used. So realistically, like the modifications, my own labor to do a fret dress, whatever that costs you, if you can't do it yourself, if you want really low action. But the other thing, the Alnico magnet maybe cost me $2. And yeah, it took a bit of time. I am using flat wound strings. I like flat wound strings because they don't make noise when I change them. But this tone, I mean, that is just a beautiful, beautiful sound. And for this amount of money, Google it or whatever, go on. I bought this guitar from Thomann, who are an extremely reliable organization. I mean, they are, just perfect to deal with. And so I believe that that's the only place that you can get these guitars. So, but I paid €185 for it, whatever that amounts to in the currency of your country or whatever. But yeah, I do feel that this guitar is very much worth the money. I don't think that you need to get into changing pickups and changing tuning machines and pots and all that kind of thing. I really don't. I mean, it depends on the sound that you want. But I plan to make another couple of videos using this guitar. So to be continued. But thanks for listening. Take care.